The New York Jets, it's draft day, and here we are. I'm just waking up. This is what chaos is like when he wakes up on draft day. Usually wearing the shirt he wore the day before. That's very common. Very, very common when I wake up in the morning, just so you know. I just kind of crash out. I don't have much of a routine that involves pajamas or anything like that. I don't do pajamas. I don't just like put pajamas on at night and do the whole thing. I'm not Archie Bunker. You know what I mean? I don't like change into pajamas for bed. Where you wear the pajamas with the button down pants and everything. No, that's not me. I just crash on the bed with the shirt that I wore all day yesterday. I'm a little bit sleepy still because it's early and I'm up. But yeah, that's what happens. I open my eyes and I'm like, I'm up. And then, yeah, isn't that funny? Like, I wake up. Um, like, there's no explanation for it. I just wake up in the morning. Do you ever think about that? Like, what makes us just wake up? Like, there was no noise or anything. No one shook me. There was no alarm. I was sleeping and then I wasn't. Anyway, Snowball picked me up at the airport last night, and yesterday, and we went out to Huntington for dinner. And he takes me to a place that basically you order, you get the whole cow. You basically get a cow, and they put it on the table, and it's cooked. I mean, like it's cut into pieces, but understand it's not about like how many pieces of steak do you get or meat. It's about like it's overwhelming and scary when you look at it. Who is that? Been up for 24 hours. I have insomnia. Insomnia is not good. You should you know if I had insomnia and I was up for 24 hours, what would I do to fall asleep? I would first of all, do you have a way to get some Ambien? Ambien is a very big helper. It really helps you. Also, I don't know why they used to say warm milk. In the old TV shows in the old days, they'd be like, "Let me make you some warm milk." I wouldn't go warm milk, but sometimes like some tea will really help. But I know the feeling. I mean, like I'm up. I mean, like what the hell? But normally I smoke like I'm all out. Oh, well, yeah, I've used that method as well. I don't know. In today's day, how could you be out though? I mean, it's everywhere. I thought that it was everywhere in California when it became legalized, but then I came back and I visited New York. I'm in New York now, but I came out and visited like a month ago, and I was in the city, and it's like every block, it's everywhere. They really took this weed thing being legalized and they ran with it. But I guess maybe I don't really socialize with anyone. What is this becoming a therapy session? Uh, but you could go out and still get some dank. But you're socializing now, so you got that. You're talking, you're chatting, you're socializing. So the next step is when I do a call in show and you could call in, is to call in and actually talk. And that's kind of a good step towards socializing, but at least you're talking via chat. So that's not a bad thing, you know. But yeah, if you're up for 24 hours and can't sleep, that's like you go to a doctor for real. Like I'm not joking. You go to a doctor because that's dangerous. You have to sleep. You have to get some sleep in. And if you're not, you must go to a doctor and get something. Unless marijuana works because it's probably the safest drug out there to help people sleep. It's not that there are very credible people that would say try edibles, try this, try that. But if that's not working, then you have to go see a doctor. You have to figure that out because your body needs sleep. It's very, very important. Bad things can happen to your brain if you don't sleep. Seroquel? That sounds really strong. Anyway, it's draft day, people. It's draft day. So what does that mean? Well, first it means I get up and I announce to everybody that it's draft day. That's one thing. I was just thinking about all the different things that can happen. Like we have no idea. We have no idea what's going to happen for this team in the next 12 to 15 hours. Well, let's see, 12 hours it'll be 8 o'clock, and then add another hour by the time they get to the 10th pick. Yeah, I think we're about 13 hours away. So, I mean, here we are, people, 13 hours away from finally getting our answer. I think no matter how it goes, I'm not gonna say I want. I was tempted to say, "Oh, we don't have to deal with the Bauer boys anymore," but I have a feeling we're gonna be dealing with the Bauer boys the rest of our lives, or at least for the next 12 years. I think every time the guy makes a catch, Sack Exchange is gonna be online on Twitter saying, if he's not a Jet, he's gonna be saying that catch could have been for the New York Jets, and and if he is a Jet, every time he makes a catch, he's gonna go on Twitter and say, "See, we wouldn't have had any way to get the first down without Brock Bowers." So this is not going to go away. This is not going to be resolved. But I'll tell you, it'll be much better. It'll be much easier to deal with everything as long as whoever we pick, whether it be Brock Bowers or anybody else, as long as they are a stud, as long as they are a big hit and they work out, we'll be able to be fine and we'll be able to deal with it. But if we pick wrong and it's not Bowers, we're going to hear about it for the rest of our lives. Like it's going to come up in every argument. They're going to use it to be like if we pick somebody who doesn't work out and Bowers is a star somewhere else, they're going to declare themselves, the Bauer boys, the most brilliant people in the world, where only their takes matter and everybody else is stupid. And that's the way it's going to be forever. So get ready. That's what we have to look forward to as Jet fans for the next, you know, 20 years if we're wrong. Well, I'm not saying if we're wrong, but if we weren't part of their group, part of their cult, I should say. But as long as the player we pick helps us win, you know what? Let's rephrase that. The truth is, if we win a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter if who we pick. Like we could pick the biggest bust, and then if we went on and won the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter because all this is about is winning a Super Bowl. Right? Right. So if we pick Bowers and he turns out to be a freaking stud, I'll listen to them scream about it forever because it's not like I sat there and screamed that we shouldn't pick him. The people that scream that we shouldn't pick him are the ones that are going to have to live with it, not me, because I've made a video about the guy being good, but I just understand the argument of every pick. I understand why it's okay to go offensive line. I understand why it's okay to go wide receiver, and I understand why it's okay to take Bowers. There's arguments for all scenarios. So that doesn't make me a Bowers boy because to be a Bowers boy, you're not allowed to consider other options. It has to be just Bowers, 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 Bowers. But let me tell you, it would be exciting because the truth is what we don't talk about Brock Bowers enough. We only talk about the controversy, this, that. What we don't talk enough about is he's a night he's a matchup nightmare. Like he really is. He's very it's very hard to think of how other teams defenses in the NFL are going to cover Brock Bowers without putting an abnormal amount of defensive resource into it. Let's just say that. But it's the same kind of thing for a Dunze. Like if we ended up for Roma Dunze, it's very similar in that you have to cover him with the CB2 now. And you can't double team a Dunze. Like you just can't because Garrett Wilson's on the other side. And if you can't double both receivers because they will. Oh, the door's knocking. Hold on 1 second.
Sorry, do you mind if I get some?
Okay, this is Owen. We're live streaming right now. It's still a bunch of people. So say hi.
So,
He's got a lacrosse scholarship, goalie.
I gotta go to practice.
Oh, sorry. You got to go to practice now.
Yeah.
He's going to become rich and famous,
I don't get
and he's not playing lacrosse. He's going to become rich and famous just because he's going to become rich and famous. You know, like Elon Musk.
Hopefully.
Oh, hopefully. Just remember to buy me something when you get rich. Yeah. Anyway, way too early in the morning for chaos. Twisted. It's way too in the morning for you. How come the viewers go from like 5 to 14 back down to 5? Like a lot of people ran away. They said, "Oh, kids, run!" No. What was I saying? Yeah. So neighbors creates matchup problems for the other team. See, that's why I'm excited about this draft. Now, offensive lineman. Okay. So here's what happens: if we draft an offensive lineman, that in the short term is disappointing in a sense. Like I understand the lack of satisfaction from that because then we're just marching out, Mike Williams, who we hope is able to play and contribute, and Garrett Wilson, who we love, right? And then we're like so thin and so close to like having to rely on guys like Lazard and like really how did we get into this situation? Like when you think about it, like I don't even know how we got into this situation, how fast our wide receiver room just fell apart. There was a time where I thought it was strong and it just died. So, the immediate satisfaction it's concern. It's like, yes, we have the offensive lineman, which makes me feel really good about the offensive line depth. And it's like, okay, maybe we have somebody who can come in, then we get somebody for the future. But at the same time, it's like, what do you do without the weapon? And I don't like when people say, oh, well, you have Aaron Rodgers, so it doesn't matter. Just throw a bunch of bodies out there and let them go out for a pass. It's like, it's not, come on. We're trying to compete for a Super Bowl. And we know that, we don't have Patrick Mahomes. We have a 40-year-old Rodgers who I like, but it's not the same thing. We need weapons. Like most Kansas City kind of is the anti-argument to this because they have Kelsey. And that's pretty much it. And they won without Hill, so it didn't matter. But we don't have Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at other teams who win, they seem to have a lot more weapons. The 49ers, they have Ayuk, and the tight end Kittle and Samuel. Like there's multiple weapons. Yeah, so I think that we need to, worry about that. Now, the question is, what can we get? What could we get if, Knobcraft, his first comment is talking about the drug? What could we get in free agency at this point? Is it easier to get a weapon or is it easier to get offensive line depth? So that's something to consider also. And then of course, what can we get in the second round, in the third round? If we don't trade down, what's easier to fill in? Now some would say offensive line depth, but are you going to get an offensive lineman that's plug and play? Like if somebody gets hurt, or are you okay with Carter Warren? Now, Carter Warren might be fine if it's just for a couple of games, here and there. If Smith stays healthy, doesn't have a season-ending injury, and just throughout the season misses a few games, banged up a few games, like which is kind of his mo. It's not the worst thing in the world unless it's in the playoffs. So if it's in the playoffs, it's not going to be good. So I don't know. It's not so easy. It's like you see how I'm arguing all the sides. You see, that's why it's ridiculous. What people think it's such an easy decision because it really isn't. JD's got his work cut out for him. And the other thing that we never talk about is it depends on who's on the board when we pick. Like, if what if Adunze and Brock Bowers are both on the board when we pick? Then you have to say which weapon. You know, I gotta say, if we end up with Bowers, I'm gonna be pretty excited. Going back and watch his film. It's not the same thing. I know to watch highlights, but watch his highlights. It's really special. I hate when people say, "Look how wide open he is." That's like, no, no, no. He's wide open because of him. Like the reason he's wide open is because he's this big, fast guy, and defenses don't have a player they could put on him. Because if you put a cornerback on him, it's like Shaquille O'Neal, or it's like you playing against fifth graders, like basketball or something. That's what it's like if you put a cornerback on Brock Bowers. They're like little tiny gnats. He just runs right through, and you just throw a 50 ball, and he makes it a 90-10 because he's bigger than them and stronger, and he's 4.5 like speed, so it's not like he's slow. So even if he gets just a half a step and you throw it in front, he's just too strong. They're not going to be able to stop him. And then you can't cover him with a linebacker because he'll have 10 feet of separation. Like it's crazy. And if you try to cover him with a safety, safeties typically that might be a little bigger or stronger, they just don't usually have the speed or the coverage skills to stay with a guy with a guy like that. So don't be too mad if we pick him. Brock Bowers will make this team a better team. I pretty much guarantee you. Like he's special. What's this Knobcraft say? Gonna be hard. Oh no! Look at this. I'm doing my Bobby impersonation. Gonna be hard to be upset with any pick unless they draft a kicker or defense in the first. Yeah, that's how I see it. I'm gonna be upset because we don't trade back. That'll be my thing. I'll be like, hey, yay, great player, but we didn't trade back, and now we have to wait till freaking 72 to pick again. That's that's what's hard for me. But you never know. JD might be so all in that he uses capital from next year for next year. Like he uses next year's draft capital to get back into the second round. I mean, teams do it all the time. You never know. The thing might go, the music might play, doo, 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 and suddenly, doo, 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 and they come in with and you see Jets trade, and it might be Jets trade second round pick, 2025 second round pick, and, number three pick, 72, and move up to 55 or 54. And I don't know if that's fair. I don't got the chart with me, everybody's precious chart, but I'm just trying to give you an example. And the next thing you know, we're at 54, and there's a whole bunch of players available to us that we like. So you don't know. Anything can happen. And then we'll worry about not having a second round pick next year. We push the worry off. Maybe we could just do that forever. Every single year, we trade our second round pick for a second round pick. Think about it. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Every year. Oh, but then we don't have a third round pick. Shit. But we do the same thing. We do next year's third with a fourth to move up to a third. And then we do that every single year. And then we don't have a fourth. But we'll start getting comp picks and things like that, and we'll have a fourth that way. Brilliant. The RG's good morning, Canarsie kid. What's more? Good morning, the RG's. Oh, people. people are walking around, so I'm gonna go. I finally get up to 16 people watching, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on outside. I'm at somebody's house. I'm gonna have to go and deal with this. Ah, Baruch Hashem, Alan, good morning, Shalom. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna end this. Just wanted to get it a little. Maybe I'll try to talk later.